Welcome to the official YouTube channel of Eternia.com. I'm your host AJ, and today we're doing an unboxing and a mini review of the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Origins Cartoon Collection SheRa, RamMan, and MANTENNA figures. Now, this is the first wave, the first brand new wave in the Series 2 of the cartoon collection. Really more apropos, the Season 2. You know, gone are the days of the original blue packaging with the 80s Adventures logo in the top left-hand corner. Now in the top left-hand corner, we have the 40th anniversary of SheRa insignia, and we have this red fiery background with the evil glare of Hordak. And this is to represent really the moving forward from He-Man Masters of the Universe into his sister series, pun intended, SheRa Princess of Power. But interestingly enough, you know, I guess to keep it all in the same line, they didn't change the logo to SheRa Princess of Power. Maybe partially because they will still be introducing He-Man figures like this RamMan. But this looks so exciting to me. You know, as a kid, I wasn't a huge SheRa fan, but I actually grew into becoming a SheRa fan as an adult. You know, I'm such a SheRa fan, you know, out of the very few Mondo figures I don't have a He-Man, but I do have a SheRa. So I'm so excited to look at her the most, but I'm excited to check out all three of these figures. But first, let's take a closer look at this packaging. You can see the front clearly, but on the back, we have this beautiful artwork by the talented Francisco Echart. He does always such an amazing job, you know, bringing these Filmation scenes to life. It's such gorgeous artwork. Oh, and there's the Princess of Power logo right here. Okay, so it's not in the front of the packages, but they put them on the rear for the SheRa and MANTENNA figures. Interestingly, it doesn't say SheRa Princess of Power. It says Masters of the Universe Princess of Power. But there we go. Those are the logos. All right, so then as our eyes pan down to the cross-cell art, we notice something's different. There is only 3 figures in this cartoon collection wave. And I have to wonder, gone are the days of the 4-figure wave in cartoon collection? That's how they used to be released. And this just recently happened in Masterverse, where they reduced their waves from 4 figures to 3. And I have to wonder, you know, what is the thought process behind Mattel doing this? Is it because they're doing all these other figures like Turtles of Grayskull? I don't know. But ultimately, I will be fine if the 4-figure waves are reduced to 3 as long as Mattel keeps releasing waves. But enough talking about this packaging, because instead of 1 figure reviewing, we're reviewing 3. So let me get these figures out of the packages so we can take a closer look. So first we're looking at SheRa out of the packaging on this dais and in 360 degrees. And my first impression is she looks fantastic with a major caveat. Overall, she looks terrific. She looks like the cartoon pretty much, you know? I mean, from these gold bracers to this red cape and the length of the cape to these gold boots. And look, her legs actually go inside the boot. How cool is that? From her sword of protection to the design on her dress, to this hair and the tiara. So it's really, really screen accurate. You know, the only thing I would say is slight differences is SheRa's hair should be longer. In the cartoon, I think was around waist length. And what else? Maybe the gold tiara was a little bit darker. And it didn't have these slits in the skirt. But I understand probably these slits in the skirt is done for articulation. But otherwise, overall, including the face, they've done a really nice job with this figure. Except, this is going to be a big beef of mine just looking at her. I think there's going to be a major problem with scale. So let me get her off this dais and I'll explain more what I'm talking about. All right, on her own, this Origins Cartoon Collection SheRa looks fantastic. You know, there's so much screen accuracy within her. She's so well sculpted. She's so well painted. She looks gorgeous. And, you know, looking at her, she might become one of my favorite SheRa figures of all time, bar none. But I mean that independently. And why do I stress independently is once I bring in her twin brother from the same line, that's where my issues start coming to the forefront. Because if you watch the Filmation cartoons, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe and SheRa, Princess of Power, you'll notice in those cartoons, the brother and sister, this duo, is the same size. If you watch the movie, The Secret of the Sword, they are the same size. Now, granted, He-Man is taller than his sister because his sister is always wearing, the gold high heel boots. But when you see them standing together, they're pretty much at the same height. And they look like a formidable brother and sister, formidable twins, a formidable duo, Compare these two to, say, the, Mattel and Super 7 Club Grayskull figures. Now, these were sized accurately. Here they are, the twins, pretty much around the same height. Of course, SheRa's in those golden boots, but the high heel boots. But when you see them standing together, they look like they're pretty much the same height, and they look so formidable. And then when we bring the cartoon collection back together, it feels like, it's bring your daughter to work day. He-Man's bringing SheRa along, and SheRa, unfortunately, is just undersized compared to He-Man. So I'm a little disappointed if I wanted to display, brother and sister together. And the same thing goes with their swords. Their swords are pretty much supposed to be the same size, the same molds, the same dimensions. Yet, SheRa's sword is like a kitty sword. It's undersized. The sword of protection is so much smaller than He-Man's sword of power, and it shouldn't be. So I'm a little frustrated with that. But on its own, to stay positive, if you're just displaying the SheRa figure on its own, she looks fantastic. All right, so taking a closer look at her head sculpt, she looks absolutely stunning. Look at that. Not just the sculpting, but the paint application. It's such a fantastic SheRa head. I'm so happy with it. So happy overall with this, especially your boots. I know I said that before, but they really went the extra mile with the boots. They didn't have to have the calves go inside the boots, but they did. It looks great. Are they removable? No, they're not removable, but it looks so cool. Oh, and she has a cape. Thank you, Mattel. I'm still frustrated with you, Mattel, that Evelyn did not have a cape. She really needed a cape. Come on, Mattel. But at least he did it with SheRa. Articulation is going to be standard with cartoon collection figure. Of course, there might be a limited problem with her head, because with her hair, but her hair is soft plastic. So you should be able to look up and down and left and right to some degree. Oh, and look at the hinge in her wrist. Look at that. So she can actually transform. Unlike He-Man that didn't have the proper hinge, she can actually transform, by raising her hand and saying, for the honor of Grayskull. Look at that. That's great. And then, I think stuff is removable like her cape. Looks like her cape is removable as well. And, geez, it looks like her skirt's removable. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but you can. And that's about it. She's a fantastic figure. Oh, she also comes with her shield. What do I do with her shield? So here's her shield. Now, you never want to pose her. Well, I guess you can, but you never want to pose her. I say you never want to pose her with her shield and her sword, because to be honest with you, it's the same thing. Her sword actually transforms to the shield. So you never see her in the cartoon holding shield and sword, because it is one and the same. And here's a quick comparison of the Masterverse Princess of Power SheRa, Origins Cartoon Collection SheRa, and Super 7 Club Grayskull SheRa. All right, so now that we got the headliner SheRa out of the way, let's take a closer look at RamMan and MANTENNA. And boy, do these look like fantastic figures, right? And again, they really nailed it with the screen accuracy. I mean, that's the one thing that I'm thrilled about with the cartoon collection. Especially after the first wave, they really look like their cartoon counterparts, Let's start with RamMan. He looks so brilliant. Look at this. I mean, I think they got everything right, from the armor, from the colors, to the X's, to the pants, to the boots, even the skull on the belt. And yep, in Filmation, he definitely had a skull on the belt. He looks terrific, I think he should have been a little bit shorter, because he is shorter than He-Man. Fortunately, He-Man is taller than RamMan. RamMan is still supposed to be a little bit shorter, but at least, size proportion is right. And he looks fantastic, doesn't he? What a great looking figure. Let's take a closer look at that face sculpt. Looks great. I almost wish that they did RamMan with cross eyes, because every time he'd ram something with his head, he'd get that little dizzy look, that concussion look with the cross eyes. Wish he was done that way, but otherwise he looks fantastic. Oh, it looks like his armor is removable. Look at that. RamMan in a muscle shirt. He looks cool. He looks cool. The helmet doesn't come off, but that's his head articulation. His arms are just, whoa! Don't want to lose his fist here. Wow, his arms are a little stiff here. Can I, yeah, okay. What else we got going on? Oh, his leg articulation. Those are a little stiff too. You're not going to get great range with his legs, but otherwise he's really a good looking figure. And he comes with the accessory, the mask of Shabubi, as he sometimes says in the cartoon, which is kind of cool. So, what a good looking figure. All right, so now we're looking at MANTENNA, and he looks fantastic as well. And he's definitely screen accurate, from his purple shirt to the red horde symbol to this like little black plastic collar. Is this removable? No, this looks like it's glued on. To his legs. Yep, in the Filmation cartoon, he had black boots on the front legs and then no boots on the back legs with these like different spikes and stuff like that. So that looks completely screen accurate. Same thing with the yellow belt and the face. A lot of people are going to disagree with me because they love the vintage look, but this was always my favorite look for MANTENNA. I always thought that face looked cool. Let's take a closer look at that head. He looks great. Look at that. And then on the back here, we have the action feature button where we can pop out his eyes. Let's give it a shot. Let's do it. Look at that. Boing. I love it. It almost feels like it should click in place. Yeah, like I should be able to press the button and it'll stay, out of his sockets. But mine isn't clicking in place. It feels like it should. People are going to have to let me know in the comments if mine is broken and others click into place, or nope, you just have to hold it down. I guess we'll see. That's so cool looking. In regards to articulation, this is great. I love the fingers here. The legs are just perfect. Look at that. Yeah, you're going to get standard 4 legs here. Look at this. This is fantastic. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. This MANTENNA is great. So what do I think of the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Origins Cartoon Collection SheRa, RamMan, and MANTENNA figures? I love them. Look at them. They're just so much fun. As a huge fan of the Filmation series, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and SheRa, Princess of Power, it's so great to see, these cartoon characters, come to life in plastic form. Because, when I was a kid, that's, I always wanted my vintage toys to look like, what I saw on TV. I'd be like, how come they don't look like what I see on that cartoon, Mom? But lo and behold, here they are 40 plus years later, and they did such a good job. I mean, these really, each wave feels like they're doing a better job at making them look like their cartoon counterparts. And sure, they're not perfect. The main issue I have, the main gripe I have is scalability, the size of SheRa. She really should be, just almost as tall as her twin brother. She should be taller than RamMan. I think she should even be taller than MANTENNA. I don't know how far I could crush them down. But, so unfortunately, when you start putting them together with their characters, especially with SheRa and He-Man, I get a little disappointed. She needs to be a little bigger. I would love to have the twins unite and look great on my shelf. But on her own, she looks amazing. All 3 of them look amazing, especially this MANTENNA. How great is he? Oh, he's so perfect. And I'm just really in love with these figures, and I think you're going to be in love with them too. So I'm really happy I have them. So that's it. I want to thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone. Bye, bye, bye.